Hey, hi, hello, guys. Welcome to the Unofficial Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Mia Marie, and I'm continuing on in our four-part series through each of the four elements as it relates to astrology. So, my overall philosophy is that the four elements show up in our day-to-day life every single day. Every action that we do, every behavior that we embody is motivated by us trying to achieve a specific goal related to a specific element. And ideally, these four elements operate like tires on a car, right? There are four elements, there are four tires. We want to make sure that there is enough life, that there is enough volume, that there is enough air in all four tires so we can get to where we need to go. If one of the elements or two of the elements are lacking in our lives, we're probably not going anywhere, and we're definitely not going far. Okay, let's talk about water, but water as feeling, our feeling body. Water aims to connect, to love, to be loved. And like water on earth, water dominant people tend to absorb, blend with, and unify with whatever they touch. Cancer's love is nurturing, personal, protective. Scorpio loves to penetrate, to blend with, and to share intimately with other people. And Pisces ends the water cycle by transcending personal, erotic, and social love by offering selfless, universal compassion that will reliably see no boundaries or limits. Water has a strong resemblance to Jung's description of the feeling function. If you don't know about that, I encourage you to check it out. Water is a negative or receptive energy. Now, that doesn't mean that we are negative Nancy's if we're water dominant people, but it means that we take what's given to us and then we kind of transmute either poison into nectar, or we just make something with whatever we're given. It's wanting to expand on the inner world. It is introverted energy. There are a couple of fears that manifest through each of the stages of water's development, that being Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And Cancer fears not belonging to a family, whether it's chosen or blood, and it fears rejection. Scorpio fears betrayal of trust, being violated or exiled due to perceptions that can be classified as bad or dark or atypical. And it also has a fear of being abused or used. And so you find Scorpio characters to be suspicious because life has taught them to be suspicious. And Pisces suffers from constantly comparing the reality that we live in to their personal ideal world. Even though it's a universally oriented sign, it has its specific ideas on what the world should look like. And the fear is that the world that they visualize is unattainable. There can be this kind of victimization or tragedy mindset as a result. So how does water show up personally? How can you see it in your life? Well, when we have healthy water, evolved water serves to cleanse us, to heal us. It gives us the ability to purge what we no longer need to hold or is toxic. It is accepting energy. It processes things, and it integrates the lesson of the emotional experiences that we're having into our psyche. It allows the internal transformation to happen, and then it chooses to release it. Water energy also understands that it's okay and necessary to let go of the past. Water dominant people tend to reflect, right? That's something that happens with water. It reflects. It reflects on the past far longer than we need to. And so as a result, someone with healthy water returns to becoming open again. It is this weightless vessel versus a heavy wet blanket. But when there's too much water, it can go one of two ways. We either drown in it or we freeze the water to protect ourselves. And in either case, we are being dealt more than we could ever handle. And that kind of points to an overall lack of boundaries. When you're feeling overwhelmed or numbed out, it's an indicator that you need to use your voice to establish a barrier that doesn't exist to protect you. But when water goes cold, the body feels like a freeze burn. The repressed or unaddressed emotions manifest as physical illness or self-harm. We can get sick easily, or we can get sick often. Frozen water is associated with paranoia or phobias, and they suddenly arise out of nowhere. At the core, we are afraid of our emotions and we feel ill-equipped to handle them. So we create situations in which we need attention and rescuing without actually asking for it. There could be an ambivalence around asking for support. When there's little or no water, we see someone who is completely out of touch with their feelings and someone who may participate in vicarious feeling relationships where they quote unquote get off to the feelings of other people. I've seen this manifest personally in my life, especially when I was younger, where I was attracted to people who were completely emotionally unstable because they were able to experience feelings in a way that I would not allow myself to. So maybe that's something that you have found in your life, maybe not, hopefully not. And so when there's too little energy, the emotional rapport is low and someone can appear to be cold or aloof or uncaring. There seems to be this obvious absence of intimacy in their lives. And building on that point, I like to think about the function of water when it's healthy, when it's fresh, versus when it's contaminated, right? When we are constantly cleaning out our emotional body, it's clear. But when we hold on to things, the water gets foggy or cloudy or muddy even. That sounds the worst. So fresh water is mindful. It becomes the observer of the mind and the mind's effort to distinguish which emotions belong to oneself and what emotions we've absorbed from other people, especially as we're moving throughout our day. Fresh water also purifies. It uses meditation, journaling, soft exercises, and time alone to help emotions run through the body. And I use that word run because water runs. A way that I like to purify my water when I feel particularly vulnerable is I'll pull out my computer and I'll open the photo booth app and I will do talk therapy with myself just to get it out, just to get it off. And that seems to help me. I learned that from Beyonce. Thank you, girl. Fresh water also heals. It relies on our own emotional strength, insight, and wisdom to work through the tough emotions and the tough conversations that we need to have to establish peace and unity in our lives. And lastly, fresh water releases. It understands that what has passed is in the past, and healthy water is eager to let go, so newness can present itself. On the opposite hand, contaminated water is mindless. It feels so much that as a coping mechanism, it freezes or detaches from the emotional body to escape the pain. And so the way that this might manifest is thinking like, I can't feel, so I can't suffer, right? Oh, if I just say I don't care, then I've dealt with it. Then we get this pattern of repression. Contaminated water is also polluted. So it doesn't do the self-care that's required to flesh out our emotional, spiritual, and psychological baggage. And in turn, it allows the gravity of our experiences to weigh the soul down. We feel heavy. We feel like that wet blanket, like that negative Nancy. It also harms. It employs self-harm as an indirect or maybe even an unconscious way to work through the pain that is felt internally. And the most obvious way is by using alcohol and drugs or maybe eating disorders to get the emotions out. Obviously unhealthy. I do not recommend it, but this type of behavior would fall under an unhealthy energetic water function. And lastly, contaminated water imprisons us. It uses our personal history as a reason to build walls of fear rather than bridges of wisdom, and it leaves us feeling entrapped in ourselves in old wounds and hurts. So now that we kind of have the basis of water and its function and the way that it appears in our lives on a day-to-day basis, let's talk about the evolution of water. When we hear Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, we think water signs, but we don't actually think of it as being a process of sorts. And that's exactly what it is. So Cancer is the personal unconscious, and it yearns for nurturing, warmth, closeness, love. The crab can be personally insecure of losing love and a sense of belonging, and it's concerned with personal connections, specifically to the mom or family lineage, memories from the past, and it craves emotional security. Scorpio is socially oriented, and there is a marked sense of needing a kind of cohesive social order. It wants us to integrate, and it sees to it that whatever is unintegratable is eliminated. It also gives rise to the fear of being eliminated, killed, shunned, ostracized, if it violates social taboos or for some reason cannot be integrated into the culture that it currently is existing in. I've seen this manifest specifically with Scorpio moons and Scorpio risings. There is this pattern of behavior that's rooted in fear of being eliminated from their environment and people that they love. Scorpio, surprisingly, also represents the connection to our ancestral past. We inherit is a Scorpio word, the beliefs and traditions of our family and our tribe or our clan. This is its connection with Cancer. And Scorpio understands innately that in order to have power, one must also be well integrated to society. It must be in the know of what is valuable on an emotional level to clan and society. And lastly, water expresses itself through Pisces. Pisces is the collective unconscious, and the fish, Pisces symbol, is on a quest to bridge the divide between humanity and the universe. So Pisces is a compassionate energy. It's kind, it's undiscriminating, especially when it comes to love. And at the same time, there is this vague fear of feeling like they're unraveling, disintegrating, and collapsing into some kind of chaos from which they will never come back from or recover from. Pisces is here to learn how to surrender to and to believe in a higher power to remain connected to life. Alrighty, guys. Well, that is the episode. If you enjoyed what you heard here, you can find all of this information and so much more in my book, Chaos and Cosmos, a handbook for the practicing astrologist. If you would like to work with me, you can find me at wellandrising.com. And if you would like to see more of my content, you can find me at www.youtube.com/at the symbol at Well and Rising. Until next time, toodles.